capabilities. All right, so I'm Taiwo, as I have been rightly introduced. I'm Taiwo Olaweyemi. I'm a pharmacist. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that a large number of our audience, a large percentage of our audience, are pharmacists or pharmacy students. That's totally understandable. But beyond pharmacy, you would find me involved in communications. So that's why I'm going to be speaking on a public speaking topic today. I recall that I had started my public speaking journey officially during my undergraduate days at the University of Ibadan, leading the Faculty of Pharmacy Debate Society at the time and growing to judge speakers, provide feedback, coach speakers. And now I find myself doing something similar even post-graduation, coaching early and mid-career professionals to attain communication excellence. And I hope that I will be able to share some valuable insights with you all in the course of today's session. So generally, I'll be speaking based on my experience and largely many of the questions that I have received from people. And I hope that you find tremendous value from them. And of course, feel free to ask questions if you've got any. Feel free to ask any question that you have, and I shall try my utmost to answer your questions. Okay, so today's topic largely is focused on how to speak effectively, confidently as early career professionals and students. And I think that the gift of communication or the skill of communication is one that is cross-cutting. So it definitely stands you out, no matter your cadre, no matter your station in life, whether you're wealthy or poor or educated or uneducated, whoever you may be, whether you're a senior professional or a student, if you have the gift of the gab, if you have the ability to speak confidently, to share your thoughts clearly and confidently, it stands you out. Stands you out. Oh, I said educated or uneducated, right? Because you don't necessarily need to go to school to be able to speak confidently. If you think about the old age or the old times when school wasn't even in existence, we had people who emerged spokespersons of their groups, of their communities, because people believed that they were confident and they were articulate in how they presented their opinions. So that means that the gift of public speaking stands you out anywhere you find yourself. And it's definitely one to be aspired for or want to aspire to, the ability to speak effectively. And it's no brainer that effective communication is almost synonymous with good leadership skills. Think about it. You find yourself in a small group and it's time to appoint a team lead. Many a times we would appoint the person who seems more vocal, most vocal, the person who seems most vocal, the person who seems most confident. It doesn't necessarily mean that a person will be a good leader, but many times we use the ability to speak up to mean an ability to lead well. So if you want an opportunity to improve your leadership skill, that means you need to be more visible by speaking up. You need to be more visible by sharing your thoughts. You need to be more visible by communicating your opinions wherever you find yourself. So why do we find that many people encounter challenges when it comes to speaking up, sharing their thoughts? You might have even the most brilliant idea in the room, but you find yourself tongue-tied because you wonder, you second guess yourself. Am I saying the right thing? I hope I will not say nonsense. I hope people will not laugh at my idea. Maybe it's not so good. I think someone else will have a better idea. Let them share it. So we stifle ourselves we stifle our genius, we stifle our creativity, we stifle our beautiful abilities because we do not rate ourselves, because we don't think we are capable enough, we are good enough. And that self-limiting belief does more harm than good, because some of us are really quite good at what we do. We are so good at what we do. But because we don't speak up, people do not know how good we are. Or people do not trust us to handle certain responsibilities because we haven't shown ourselves approved through speaking up. So you see that you are losing a lot of opportunities, maybe even leaving a lot of money on the table because you're selling yourself short, because you're choosing to suppress your capabilities by not speaking up. And it's a gift that can be learned. That's the beautiful thing. It's a gift that can be learned, whether you went to school or not, whether you went to a fancy secondary school or not, whether you had an excellent English teacher or not, whether you grew up in a rural area or in an urban area, wherever it is, you can learn the art of public speaking. You can learn the art of public speaking. The Romans are credited to be very excellent public speakers. You know, think of the likes of Cicero, excellent public speakers. And you find that it's because it was a part of their curriculum of learning in school. So if one can sharpen one's speaking capabilities through structured learning, you can do likewise even through self-directed learning. I came across the story of Anthony Robbins, who is a renowned public speaker, motivational speaker, life coach, and business strategist, one of the top in the United States of America. And I realized that this guy didn't go to college. I'm not an advocate of no school. I am a great advocate of learning, of academic endeavors. I definitely love academic endeavors. But here's somebody who didn't go to college. How did somebody who didn't go to college grow to the zenith of his career through the gift of speaking, to the point that he is able to provide very useful strategies for entrepreneurs, for corporate professionals, advising governments, sitting on boards across hospitality, education, media, name it, with millions of his books sold across multiple countries of the world. Somebody whose coaching sessions are priced at over $18,000. Somebody who didn't go to college. What makes him the money? The power of speaking, the gift of the gab, the ability to structure his thoughts and communicate his thoughts to solve a problem. So if that person who didn't go to college was able to groom himself to be able to become a value-adding professional and communicate that value, then anybody can build their public speaking skill if they put their mind to it. Anybody can sharpen your public speaking skills. I mean, I have seen the power of committed learning towards public speaking, especially through my personal coaching programs. I've seen people who would say, oh, before I would be so shy at the office, I would be unable to raise my hand to share my thoughts in team meetings. And at the end of this coaching program, I found that I was able to start speaking in the office. I was able to start presenting at work. I found people who would say, I used to be very shy, but now I feel more confident. I feel more confident in my abilities. Great. So a shift can happen. If you want to grow from where you are to where you need to be public speaking wise, it will require effort from you. It will require commitment from you. It will require intentionality from you. First, you've got to, in fact, come to the realization that you need it, that you are not where you want to be, that there is more to aspire to, that you should be a better speaker, that you can be a better speaker. So that realization is first. And then you've got to do a self-assessment. Where am I now? How do I speak? How do I communicate? How do I come across to people? And how would I like to come across to people? Sometimes we may not even know our own gaps or faults, but when we see some people who seem to speak very well, we can identify, oh my God, yes, I like how this person said this. Or I like how this person carried themselves. Or I like how this person communicated so and so and so. Or I like how this person generally speaks. Maybe if you pay more attention to people that you listen to, it can help you to identify what kind of speaker you should aspire to, or what kind of speaker you could be. But self-assessment is indeed very important because self-awareness is the bedrock of personal growth and ultimately professional success. As we say, man, know thyself, right? You've got to know yourself. You've got to know yourself. You've got to know what makes you shy, what makes you nervous. You've got to know why you feel nervous, why you feel anxious when you speak. Because it's when you know that why that you're able to take steps in the right direction. I say this because you can have two people who are shy or nervous about public speaking, but they have different reasons for their shyness or their anxiety. For one person, it could be that that person has a prior bad public speaking experience. Maybe some time ago in secondary school or in the university, they had an opportunity to deliver a presentation. They had given their best to preparation. On the D-Day, they flunked it. On the D-Day, they forgot their lines. And they felt humiliated in front of their colleagues and swore never again to speak in public. That could be the scenario for one person. Another person could just feel like, I don't think I'm good enough. They've not even attempted, but they just have that cloud hanging over their head, making them feel like they're incapable of holding a valuable conversation with a stranger, or they're incapable of communicating effectively before a group of seniors, senior colleagues, mentors, whoever. So these are two different people, two different perceptions, but similar outcomes. They're anxious about speaking. They would rather not accept a public speaking invitation. So you've got to dig deep to identify your own why. Why do you feel anxious? Why do you feel nervous? Why do you feel the way you do? Why do you act the way you do? It requires you to reflect and reflect and reflect. It requires you to ask yourself some questions. And it requires you to accept that situation so that you can move forward. More importantly, I should add that it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to feel anxious. Even the best of speakers, even the best of orators feel anxious. They experience stage fright. They experience glossophobia, which is the fear of, maybe not fear of public speaking for the great speakers. Great speakers would not have fear of public speaking, but great speakers still experience some form of anxiety. So the fact that somebody is confident doesn't mean the absence of fear. Just like we say, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to show up in spite of that fear. So confidence is not the absence of anxiety or nervousness or shyness. It is you showing up in spite of the anxiety, the nervousness, and the shyness. What if I told you that I am not immune to shyness either? I am not immune to anxiety either. There are times that I feel anxious when I've got an opportunity to speak. Not every time, but there are a few occasions. So if the best of speakers feel anxious, it's okay for you to feel anxious. In fact, you should know that about 75% of the average population experiences some form of public speaking anxiety or another. That means 15 in 20 people. That means only about 5 people in 20 people feel generally confident and capable to nail any public speaking presentation. So it's okay. It's okay, right? And you can grow through the experience. But first, clarify your why. Why do you feel the way you do? Why do you feel anxious? Why do you feel nervous? Why do you find public speaking situations challenging? Because if you don't clarify the why, it then becomes a bit difficult to overcome that barrier. So clarify the why. Clarify the why. Clarify the why. And come to terms with it. Understand that public speaking, the fear of public speaking, is normal for some people. It's normal. Feeling anxious is normal. Feeling anxious is normal. But you must also understand that you have power over that fear. Just treat it as fear of anything. But you've got a big decision to make. You have plans for a big goal. It would cause shivers down your spine. You may feel anxious along the line, but it wouldn't deter you, would it? No, that anxiety will not deter you. In fact, you will let that anxiety fuel you towards the actualization of that goal. Transfer that energy, transfer that mentality to public speaking. Because we don't always back down from everything that scares us, do we? No, there are some things we choose to face head on in spite of the anxiety, in spite of the fear. So why can't we transfer the energy? Why can't we transfer the mentality to public speaking as well? And say, even though this feels like a hard chore, I'm going to do it. About 75% of the average population experiences public speaking anxiety. So it's okay for me to feel anxious, but it is not okay for me to let the fear of public speaking overcome me. Because it is when you let that fear overcome you that you then begin to show the symptoms of glossophobia. People can see it. People can see how your voice is quaking, shivering. People can see how your palms are so sweaty and you're struggling to keep yourself together. People can see how you're unable to maintain eye contact because you let the fear get to you. So I'm saying the anxiety is normal, but don't let it get to you. You may ask me, oh, Taiwo, you say that you feel anxious sometimes. How do you manage it? First, I normalize the fear. I know that fear of public speaking is normal. I am not the first, neither will I be the last to experience the fear of public speaking. It is normal. So what am I going to do? I'm going to live with it. I'll move on in spite of the fear. Normalize it. So that means I will anticipate the fear because I know that it is normal. I will not allow the fear to get to me. When the anxiety comes, I'll tell myself, Taiwo, it's okay to be anxious, but you've got this. You have a presentation to make. You have done your part. You have prepared. So go on and show up in spite of the fear. So that means that when my heart begins to beat so fast, because that's my own symptom, again, my heart begins to beat very fast. For some people, it is the sweaty palms. I don't experience sweaty palms. So whatever your own symptom of the anxiety is, know it. When it happens, you need to know that nobody knows you're anxious unless you show it. I mean, if I were anxious right now, would you know it? No, you wouldn't, because I will continue to speak. You wouldn't know it unless I let that fear or that anxiety get to me. And then I'm unable to maintain eye contact. I'm looking down so often, or I'm holding onto my fingers so often, rather than being free enough to demonstrate or gesticulate as appropriate. Or my voice is shaky. That's the only time you would know that I'm anxious. If it were a physical presentation and you find that my emotions do not suggest that I am enjoying myself, then you can tell that something is wrong. So in a nutshell, nobody knows you're anxious unless you begin to show it. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows unless you show it. So what's your role in this? Your role is to ensure that you do not show the fear. Your role is to ensure that you do not let the anxiety get the better part of you. And it's not so hard because the anxiety leaves you in about 10, 15 seconds when you start the presentation. And it's easier to overcome it within the initial part of your presentation if you have normalized the fear and you focus on your presentation and on your audience rather than on the fear. Because when you're focused on the fear, oh my God, I pray that I will not forget my speech. Oh my God, I pray that I will not do so and so and so. Oh my God, I pray that I will not forget my lines. You are letting the fear get to you rather than focusing more on the excellent presentation that you have prepared for your audience and the excellent person that you are, the value that you bring to the table. Because I think it's because we do not rate ourselves that we allow fear get to us. I mean, there are people who are not half as good as you are, but they rate themselves so highly. They can walk into a room with their heads held up high as if they own the space. They're not even half as good as you are, but they own themselves and own the space as if they've got it all. So that tells you that you're doing yourself a grave disservice by not reckoning yourself highly, by not holding yourself highly, by not counting yourself worthy. That's why I said self-awareness is critical, because self-awareness will impact your self-belief. It will impact your self-confidence. What do you know of yourself? Whenever I encourage people, I like to give them this exercise. Write at least 10 things that you like about yourself. That when you think about such things of yourself, they make you feel great about yourself. Or maybe it's your smile, maybe it's your dress sense, maybe it's your intelligence. Let that make you feel motivated. Let that make you feel better about yourself. You need to feel better about yourself. You need to feel great about yourself. If you don't feel great about yourself, it's going to be a great challenge for you to effectively manage relationships with people. You will always discredit yourself because you don't think that you're worth it. So self-belief is critical. Self-belief is critical. Self-belief is critical. Know yourself. If you have a great dress sense, use it to your advantage. Anytime you have an opportunity to speak, make sure you dress the part, make sure you dress well, because when you feel great, it then helps you to act great. When you feel confident, it makes you act confident as well. And as you project that confidence to your audience, it then becomes better for you to flow. So don't forget that you have power over glossophobia. You have power over the fear of public speaking. You have power over it. Normalize it. Normalize it. And know that in the first few seconds of your presentation, it will ease away. You have the power to let it affect you or not. Nobody knows you're anxious unless you begin to show it. It is when you begin to show it, when you let it get to you, that people will then see it in you and will be distracted from your presentation because you have let your fear get a hold of you. And I know sometimes we may feel like, oh, I don't always get anxious with every presentation. There are some presentations that I feel great about, but there are others that make me feel anxious. It's okay. Use the same strategy. You must also understand that your audience is there to listen to you. Think about it. If I came here with the mindset that you were all here to judge me and you were all here to find a reason to write me off, rather than you being here enthusiastic about what I'm going to share. You see, I would have distracted myself from the purpose of the presentation. I'll be more fixated on what people would think rather than being more concerned about what I'm going to share. You see, You must pay attention to what you fixate on. So don't have a mindset that makes you feel like your audience is against you, or that makes you feel like your audience is out to judge you and mark your weak points. No, don't have a performance orientation of public speaking. I mean, yeah, every public speaking engagement is a performance in itself. I mean, from you planning your speech to infusing anecdotes to infusing humor to you, of course, utilizing your eye contact, your pauses, your voice modulation, and all of that. Yes, a public speaking engagement is a presentation or it's a performance generally. But I'm saying, do not pay more attention on your audience evaluating you. Rather, focus on your public speaking interaction as a communication engagement or a communication endeavor. What is communication? It's the exchange of ideas, right? Through a medium, from the speaker to the hearer. You are the speaker. You would be the speaker in that instance. And why is the audience there? The audience is there to listen to you, to hear your thoughts, to understand you. That's the overall goal of communication. Communication will be ineffective if understanding isn't established. So think about it. Every time you get an opportunity to share your thoughts, why not let your focus be to help the other person understand your thoughts? If you focus more about helping the other person to understand your thoughts, I think it would relieve you of the fear and the stress and the anxiety of public speaking. So think about it. Have a communication orientation of public speaking rather than a performance orientation. I mean, rather than thinking that your audience is out there to evaluate you, to identify your weak spots. Rather than that, focus more on the need to share your thoughts. Why are you here? Are you here to mark me down? No, I don't think so. I wouldn't think so. I would rather think that you're here to listen to me. You're here to hear my thoughts. You're here to hear my perspective on the subject of public speaking, right? Exactly. So you are enthusiastic about hearing from me. Why not have that mindset whenever you have an opportunity to speak? Whether it's with your colleagues or with senior persons, wherever you find yourself, see that opportunity, that public speaking opportunity, as an opportunity to share your thoughts on the subject matter. So you're in a discussion with a group of people, say what you think, share your thoughts. Don't bother about what people will think, because when you're bothering about what people will think, you're having a performance orientation. Oh, they may say that I'm not saying so, I'm not speaking well. They may say I'm not pronouncing my words correctly. They may say that my ideas are shallow. They may say so and so and so. You see, you're already hindering yourself from sharing your thoughts, which could be very useful for you and useful to the entire team. So focus more on sharing your thoughts so that you can be understood, so that you can share your brilliant ideas and make the conversation more robust. A communication orientation rather than a performance orientation. So when you do that, it relieves you of the burden. It relieves you of the burden. Mindset, clarify your why. We've spoken about that. Another point is what? What kind of speaker would you like to be? What kind of speaker would you like to be? When you speak, when people listen to you, what do you want people to think of you as a speaker? Are you that person yet? So if you're not that person yet, who is the kind of speaker who sort practicalizes the kind of speaker that you would like to be? Identify such people. And there are tons of good speakers in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. that you can learn from, that you can model yourself after. Oh, I like how this person speaks. I like how this person carries themselves. I like how they communicate their thoughts. You need to clarify that for yourself. Or do you want to be more humorous in how you speak? Or you want to sound more intelligent in how you speak? Clarify that. But if you want to sound more intelligent, that means you need to invest in knowledge of the subject matter, because you cannot sound intelligent if you don't know the subject matter. How do you want to know the subject matter if you don't invest in knowledge? Think about the speakers that you admire. They stand out not merely for their charisma or their confidence, but also because they have sound understanding of the subject matter. I'm speaking to a research club, right? A team of researchers. You need to know your stuff. So you're engaging a research community. Your charisma alone will not be enough. Your confidence alone will not be enough. If you want to be respected for your craft and respected for your thoughts, you need to know the subject matter. So you need to invest in knowledge. You need to invest in knowledge. So it's in you taking a course, taking a certification, taking a degree, knowing the stuff. Competence is very important. Is there any speaker that you like out there who is not excellent at their craft? No, they don't stand out merely because of their charisma and their confidence. There is also the other C, competence. Competence is very important. You don't want to be an empty gong. You want to be solid. You want to know your stuff. You want to know your craft. So invest in knowledge. Invest in knowledge. Very, very important. Very important. And of course, we must understand that it's in phases. What you will know as an early career professional may be miles away from what a senior professional would know. But of course, at your level, continue to embrace knowledge. Continue to embrace knowledge. Continue to invest in your competency, so that when you open your mouth to speak, people will have reason to stop and listen to you. So invest in your knowledge, invest in your competence, invest in your intelligence. Very important. Because when you have an opportunity to speak, what will you talk about? What will you speak about? Think about it. When you have the confidence that you want, you have the charisma that you want, what will you talk about? That knowledge is important. So somebody like Yusuf can speak about research for hours because he's an expert on it. So I think that a balanced mix would be the competence, the confidence, and the charisma. Because there are people who are competent, they are excellent at their craft, but they are not confident. So they can't even share their good work. They can't even talk about their work. That means they are doing themselves a grave disservice. Because people who are not even half as good as they are, when they show up on the scene, people will listen to them. They will take the shine. So it's not enough to be competent alone. You must have the confidence and you must build your charisma. Charisma is largely your likability with people. And confidence largely impacts on charisma because people are drawn to you by how you interact with them, how you engage them. So your competence, your confidence, and your charisma, very valuable. Very valuable. Very valuable. So what kind of speaker do you want to be? Think about it. And the number of speakers that you can model yourself around, depending on what your own preferences are. I mean, somebody like me would I love to listen to people like Barack Obama, Yemi Osinbajo, our vice president. I like to listen to people like Akinwumi Adesina, the president of the African Development Bank. These are thought leaders in their fields, of presidents, renowned leaders. Yes. And you can tell that they have paid their dues. You're experts, subject matter experts, leadership, politics, subject of economy, agriculture, and so on and so forth. Whatever your own forte is, sharpen yourself so that when you step into the limelight, you will shine whenever you get an opportunity to speak. Sharpen your skills. Sharpen your skills. People like Ibukun Awoshika. So think about it. What's a subject matter that you enjoy speaking about? Can you start grooming yourself to speak about it? Yeah, you may need some aid along the line, maybe writing down your thoughts, practicing and rehearsing, teaching people. Teaching people what you know is a good way to start building your confidence. And someday you will not even need an aid. You wouldn't need any written material, and you can speak about it offhand. What kind of speaker do you want to be? That's for you to decide. That's for you to clarify. And then think about it. What will speaking do for you? What will confidence do for you? What will confident and articulate speaking do for you? What will it do for you? I say this because speaking is a tool, communication is a tool, and it's a tool that should be wielded for a higher purpose. So whenever I coach people, I ask them, what's your overall goal? Would you like to utilize your public speaking skill to implement an impact project, a capstone project? What do you want this tool, the skill to do for you? Because through the power of speaking, you can motivate and inspire people to do the right things or even the wrong things. Adolf Hitler was able to inspire people to do certain not so nice things, but with the power of speaking. So what will you use the power of speaking for? You need to clarify that for yourself. So for some persons, they feel like they want to start a project, maybe on science communication, break down scientific concepts into intelligible language for the average man to understand. Fantastic. Some persons, or you want to start an initiative, you want to lead a team of volunteers for a social impact project, or you want to vie for a political position, whatever it is, you got to clarify it for yourself. What will you use the gift of speaking for? What will this gift do for you? What higher purpose can you use it to serve? That empowers you. That empowers you to be intentional about building the skill. And it's a skill that you build for life, right? It stays with you. It's not a skill that you forget. It's a skill that stays with you. So that as you move that muscle, even when on days when you feel unprepared for a speech, you're still able to turn out well. I recall the closing ceremony of a fellowship program I was selected for, the West African Young Leaders Fellowship, a one-year fellowship program for change makers across West Africa. I was in Ghana at the time, and we had our closing ceremony. And I was called impromptu to deliver a message on behalf of the fellows. Oh my God. Right in the middle of the ceremony, I had only about 15, 20 minutes. Of course, I had to scribble down a few points I wanted to speak about. And it turned out beautifully, to the point that the convener made mention of it. Oh, Taiwo, you delivered such a good presentation. One would have thought you spent days preparing. I guess if it's in you, right? But yeah, it's a skill that you sharpen with time. It's a skill that you sharpen with time. It's a skill that you sharpen with time. You can grow from somebody who cannot even complete their sentences in public to somebody who will stand in front of thousands, millions, holding your own, holding them spellbound by your thoughts, by your words. It's a journey. And it starts with a step. Starts with you saying that you will volunteer to speak anywhere you find yourself. It starts with you saying that you will no longer second guess yourself. You will show up, you will speak up, you will believe in yourself, you believe in your thoughts, and you will speak up. Some people may wonder, is it always about speaking? Where's the place of listening? Absolutely. Listening Effective listening, active listening is a key ingredient of effective communication. So the best of speakers are not always speaking. They also listen. They also listen to understand. They also listen to understand the perspective of the other person. They also listen. So you must build your ability to listen. It's very important. You must build your ability to listen. It's very, very important. Because if you are not a good listener, you cannot be an effective communicator. Sometimes it is in listening to the other person that you get, your mind opens up to see another perspective that wasn't known to you prior to that time. And then you can talk about it. So you need to pay attention to listening. You need to pay attention to listening. You need to exhibit tact when you engage people. You don't always have to open your mouth every time. Sometimes you need to pass the opportunity to speak because you want to listen, because you want to understand. Other times, you've got to take the opportunity to speak up. So you must pay attention to the season, to times and seasons, and understand when it's good for you to speak up and when it's good for you to listen. But don't shut up as an excuse, saying, oh, I would rather just listen, when you should be speaking, when you should be sharing your thoughts. Don't pass up an opportunity that you should absolutely take. I remember a time during my internship, my senior pharmacist, my director of pharmacy at the time, asked me to deliver a presentation that was going to be aired nationally. Oh my God, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. Oh, everybody would see me. Oh no, I don't want it. But I did it. I eventually did it. I did it afraid. I had to prepare for the presentation. I had to take many turns because I had to be recorded. I took many turns to know my lines. And yeah, I delivered it. You wouldn't believe it. The media team, the national media lead at the time for that project, reached out to me from nowhere, saying, "Oh, Taiwo, are you Taiwo Olawe?" He called me. "Are you Taiwo Olawe? Were you the one who recorded the video for so and so?" I said, "Oh, yes, sir. Okay, I'd like you to work with me. I have a conference coming up so and so time. I'd like you to come on board my team and work with us, work with the media team." That was it. I've been working with that team for about 4 years now through that singular exercise. If I had run away as a result, due to fear, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to engage that person. And I wouldn't have opened myself to opportunities as a result of that singular act of courage. So sometimes you need to be courageous. It may not be the perfect opportunity. You may have loads of excuses. Oh my God, my hair isn't nicely done yet. Oh my God, I don't have this. Oh my God, I don't have that. Blah, blah, blah. Don't focus on the excuses. Just do it. As the Nike slogan says, just do it. Just do it. Show up. Give yourself a push. Give yourself a push. Give yourself a push. I know that the speaking ability also it differs from person to person. This is what I mean. I mean, there are some people we listen to and we feel like they are so structured in their thoughts. They are so structured in their communication. And we may even have the same idea. And we feel like, I just like how you put it. It was so nicely said. It was so nicely said. It was very structured. Structure in presentation, structure in communication is also a skill. It's also a skill. Because one person could say something in one way, it wouldn't land well. Another person would say the same thing, and you will feel like that was so excellently said. And that's where we need to aspire to. Use of words, very important. You can't be a great speaker and you don't like words. How do you want to say what you will say? How do you want to communicate your thoughts? Your vocabulary is very important, especially if you are looking to ascend great heights. You want an opportunity to speak to thought leaders, intellectual community, global leaders. You need to be able to, you need to come correct. Your language needs to be correct. It needs to be sound. And vocabulary is very important. I know many of us would say, we already did the English 101 in school. I can't be carrying my dictionary about. But this is the you can't speak well if you don't know words. Now, this is not you knowing big words. Your words don't have to be the big words. It could be simple words as well. But words that you use in context, you use them correctly. Rather than say rich, you want to say wealthy. You want to say opulent. Do you see? So you need to know your words. You need to be friends with your dictionary. You need to, as you read your research papers, learn the use of words. Language is important. Think about it. You could have two pieces of writings, but one would be better suited for a research audience, isn't it? Because of the language. So writing language is important. Speaking language is also important. Use of words, very important. So when you read books, read articles, pay attention to use of words. So that also guides you in your speaking. Use of words, very important. I know some people have they make grammatical errors or blunders when they speak. You need to pay attention to it. Maybe as a result of our upbringing, we didn't pay attention to those things growing up. Now you can't be taboying, as we say here in Nigeria. You can't be taboying in public. You can't be making grammatical blunders. You have to learn how to speak correctly. You can't be you can't have a mismatch of your tenses. No, no. Sometimes we may not know this. So it's also good that we seek feedback from people around us. Have people who will correct you. Have people who will correct you and be open to the correction. Vocabulary, your grammar. Pronunciation. I know not everybody should speak for now. Not everybody. We don't have to speak for now. But you should try. You should attempt to pronounce your words correctly. Can't be saying challenge in Ibadan when it should be challenge. You can't, some people have the age factor, they don't know that. So you need to pay attention to that. We have the age factor. Pay attention to your pronunciation, very important. Pay attention to your pronunciation, very important. Your vocabulary, your grammar, your pronunciation. These are key ingredients that add finesse to your speaking. So you have your confidence, you have the charisma of your personality, you have your competence. What helps you what adds the flowery texture to your speaking? What adds the oratory spice to your speaking? Your grammar, your use of words, your vocabulary, your pronunciation. Very important. Very, very important. I know we cannot touch all of the facets of public speaking in this class. There's definitely more. But yeah, I think that these are valuable tips that we can begin to run with. And ultimately, practice, practice, practice. You can't grow to be a better speaker if you shy away from speaking opportunities. You can't say, oh, next time. Oh, no, next time. Oh, no, I'm not ready. Oh, I'm not good enough. Get better by doing. Think about writers. Is their first draft always their best draft? No. Their best draft is never their first draft. The first draft is rough. and the sharpen through correction, proofread, and editing. That's how speaking is as well. Your first attempt may not be excellent, but you'll get better by practice. You get better by doing. You get better as you imbibe feedback. That's how you do. Get better by doing. You get better by doing. So my charge to you is to open yourself to learning. Embrace speaking opportunities. Practice active listening. Seek feedback from people. Be intentional about learning. Be intentional about learning your craft, building your competency, your preferred subject matter, and be intentional about building your competency around the knowledge of public speaking as well. So yeah, you're already in this class, fantastic. It helps you to understand what public speaking entails. Maybe you need to take a step further to sign up for a public speaking training, a public speaking coaching program. Fantastic, do that. Maybe you want to be intentional about self-directed learning, or you want to continue to read articles, read papers, read books that will help you to improve your understanding of public speaking, your use of words. Do that. Maybe you need to go buy the Brighter Grammar book we used to use when we were younger, so that you can pay attention to your grammar from the fundamentals. Do that. Can also watch TEDx videos. There are very valuable videos on YouTube that you should watch. Do that. You can set a goal. You're going to watch a video again. You can do that. Video is about 15, 20 minutes. Do that. Do that. Be intentional about learning. Be intentional about practice. And whenever you get an opportunity to speak, take it. Embrace it. Because that's where the growth is. That's where the growth is. That's where the growth is. You get better by doing. Get better by doing. And ultimately, you must understand that public speaking, becoming a better public speaker, is a journey. Attaining public speaking mastery is a journey. But as you speak more, you become better. As we speak better, you do better. As you speak better, you become better. So keep speaking. Keep speaking, keep speaking. Thank you so much. I will stop here and take questions if we have any.
Thank you very much, Taiwo. This has been value packed. I mean, public speaking is very, very important, and you've highlighted a lot of examples. Imagine you're asked to speak in a conference. People are listening to you. People want to hear from you, and through that, you can get a number of opportunities. And for me, I always think, oh, I should not speak in the public. I should not do this. I should not do that. But when I first had my first encounter of being invited due to my presentation in a conference, I now understood that this is a great opportunity for me to really sell myself. So even if you are the best researcher in the world, you have the best ideas, and you're unable to communicate, people will think you don't have the technical skills. And that means that you are not going to rise. So as you are building technical skills, you also need to also invest in building your capacity on how to speak effectively. And I think we have a number of questions now and in the chat box. So so let me just start. Let me ask this question before we go to the question that we have here. Questions that we have here. The very first thing is some people, they have problems with using filler words. So what do you recommend, and what do you think they should do to limit the use of filler words?
Great. So first step is to know that you use filler words. So if you know that you use filler words, fantastic. That's a step in the right direction. Some people don't know that they use filler words. So filler words are like crutches. You know, a walking aid is the crutch, right? So when you speak and you're trying to remember what to say, you have a filler word that serves as a crutch. You are leaning on it because you are trying to remember the next thing to say, because you don't want to keep short. You want to keep running your mouth. So you find people saying you know, as in they're saying it multiple times. In a minute, you can count it 10 times or more. It's when you pay attention, will tell that, oh, this person is using a filler word. And some filler words could even be other regular words that we know. Other regular words, right? Right? It can be any word, really. You just need to identify what your filler word is. Now, when you identify what your filler word is, how do you overcome the use of filler words? You just need to stop saying the filler word. You just need to stop saying the filler word. And how can you do that? Catch yourself. Catch yourself. We know that we use filler words in an attempt to fill in the blanks, in an attempt to fill in space, because we're trying to remember the next thing to say. So when you're trying to remember the next thing to say, just simply pause. Just simply pause or say the next best thing that comes to mind. We are usually worried about pausing or saying the next best thing that comes to mind because we don't want to. We feel like we may say rubbish. Because we feel like we may say rubbish. But don't worry about that. Take a pause. A pause can be as short as 3 minutes. Oh, sorry, pardon me, 3 seconds. A second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Mm-hmm. You take a pause. You take a pause and you say the next best thing that comes to mind. It's an intentional step. First, you need to catch yourself, right? You need to catch yourself. You need to catch yourself. See, I just said right. I know that sometimes my filler word is right. I've said right maybe a number of times. So you need to know what your filler word is, and you need to catch yourself from saying it. So the next time it comes to mind, the next time it's at the tip of your tongue, you're about to say it, just pause. We fear that it will then become obvious that we've forgotten what we wanted to say. But maybe not really, maybe not so. Maybe you just need to take that 1 second pause, 2 second pause, and then move on. You will find that you will flow. We are just usually worried. Oh, I don't want to take a pause because I don't want people to feel like I forgot what I was trying to say. No, take that pause and you will flow. Take that pause and you will flow. It comes with practice and practice and practice. So be open to taking a pause. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
that's what I would say.
There's
Yeah.
power in pauses, but sometimes people feel that, oh, I should not stop. I should just continue to talk. So thank you very much for sharing that. So let me read the question out. We have something here. How can
Mm.
I be bold after being specialized in a subject matter or niche when there's a need to speak in another area? Did you get the question? Like,
No,
how
I
can I be
didn't. Please
bold?
repeat it.
How can I be bold after being specialized in a subject matter or niche when
Mm.
there's a need to speak
Mm.
in another area? I think this person is trying to say maybe
Mm.
they're
Mm.
an
So you're
expert
invited
in a
to
particular
speak on a
area.
subject.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you get the
Okay,
question
yeah.
now?
You're no, yeah, I got it. I got it. You're
Okay.
invited to speak on a subject matter that isn't your primary area of expertise,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Mhm. Yes. It's okay. Many good speakers are flexible. I mean, many good speakers are flexible. And it's not just the flexibility of mindset or skill. It's also the flexibility of thoughts, the flexibility of intelligence, and the transference of brilliance. I mean, you are good in an area, you get an opportunity to speak on a subject matter that isn't in your primary area of expertise. What do you know of that new area? Because good speakers are also people who are multifaceted. They can speak on many subject matters. And being a good reader helps you to do that. Not only being a professional in that field, being a good reader generally can help you to be able to speak on different subject matters. Not necessarily become different, not necessarily become multiple masters or becoming a master of multiple areas. No, you may not be a master of multiple areas, but you will be able to speak to multiple topics. So that then speaks to your ability to crystallize concepts in a manner that those concepts can be useful in different fields. I'll use my boss as an example. She's a pharmacist. I'm a sister Bimbola Adebakin. I support her in her presentations. And one thing I value about her public speaking prowess is her ability to speak on different topics. I mean, just working on financial topics, agricultural focused topics, youth focused topics. She's a pharmacist. Tech focused topics. It is ability to crystallize the idea in a manner that makes it easier for the audience to understand. So if you're not an avid reader, it's because what you can understand, you can communicate. What you understand, you can communicate. If you know it, you can speak about it. So do you know it? If you don't know it, then you need to commit to learning. You need to be an avid reader. Of course, there are times that we should decline a public speaking invitation if that area is a far cry from what we know or from what our capabilities, and we honestly feel like there are people we wouldn't do great at that speaking engagement. But sometimes we should accept such to stretch ourselves. We should accept such invitations to stretch ourselves, learn, open your mind. And there's also the thing about the style of speaking, and structure of speaking. So you're sharing your thoughts maybe on a healthcare topic, and you bring a concept all the way from fintech, and you relate it to healthcare. Brilliant. You're sharing an idea that sharing a perspective that people didn't really consider. People will consider you a genius. They would think you're brilliant. So it is you who has to stretch your mind, stretch your thinking capabilities, open up your mind, be flexible, understand the subject matter, and find a way to adapt it to the needs of your audience. I recall that my boss had an opportunity to speak on a subject matter on, I think, business model, something related to business model. And I realized that the organizers did not want her to dig deep into financial analysis and so on and so forth, not the financial part. But they wanted her to speak to a particular concept regarding business model as it relates to entrepreneurs and women. And that was something she could do. Do you see? So sometimes you also need to verify, okay, what do the organizers want me to talk about? Who is the target audience? Depending on your target audience, you are also able to speak about a subject to a degree. I mean, if you are speaking to intellectuals, to experts in an area, you then maybe need to dig deep into that subject matter. If you are speaking to people who just need to have a superficial understanding, maybe you don't need to dig deep. So audience analysis is important. What are the needs of your audience? What are the preferences of the organizers? What is your knowledge base? What is your knowledge gap? Are you able to fill or bridge your knowledge gap to meet the needs of the audience? If you don't think you can bridge your own knowledge gap to meet the needs of your audience, maybe the topic isn't for you. But if you're able to bridge your knowledge gap and transfer what you know to this new area, to this new concept, and help your audience to understand something different, fantastic. Have you never listened to a speaker who talks about a matter that you feel like you know, but that person speaks about it from an entirely different perspective? It's critical reasoning. Sometimes we need to push ourselves to be critical thinkers. Don't think that a subject matter will always be easy to talk about. You need to think critically about it, because it is when you think critically, you want to share with them what they already know. People want you to tell them what they don't know. So you need to think critically so that we can share a new idea, a new perspective, some genius perspective with your audience. So bridge your knowledge gap, be an avid reader, be flexible enough, and be a critical thinker. Thank you. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. I mean, knowledge is very, very important. You need to continue to improve your knowledge. You as a speaker, people come there to come and listen to you. So you need to be the boss. And for me, that's what actually works for me. Whenever I have the opportunity to speak, even if even if I'm going to be assessed on that, once I stood up to speak, then I am the boss and I'm going to speak confidently. So for you to, I think you also need to identify what exactly um, is your own area of interest and what you want to really speak about, and whether you have the knowledge or whether you want to take it up as a challenge to improve your knowledge and skills. Thank you very much for that. And if you know that you don't have that knowledge to speak on that particular topic, I mean, it's better for you to actually drop it, because you once you stand up, people are coming there to listen to you. So you need to be able to show that you have the knowledge, you have the ability to actually communicate and share your own insight on that particular topic. And for me, it has always been working. When I stood up to anywhere, when I stand up to speak, then I assume in my head that I am actually the boss here. So anything I'm saying has to be something that maybe of higher authority that is going to add to the discussion. And I mean, is something that you need to continue to build capacity to improve your knowledge and skills on. You can even challenge yourself to maybe to talk on a particular topic that you're not familiar with, just to see how you are going to perform, and from there you can continue to improve. Knowledge is
Mm-hmm.
important, as Taiwo said. You need to continue to
Mm-hmm.
own your knowledge and skills and continue
Yes.
to practice as much as
Yes.
possible. And are there people you could recommend us to listen to in order to understand the basics of how to speak? Like, do you have any recommendation of people?
Yeah, so somebody I recommend greatly, and I use her materials even in my own coaching sessions, is Joyce Daniels. Joyce Daniels, the quintessential event host, master of ceremonies, trainer of trainers, and a public speaking coach as well. So you can check out her YouTube page. Just check Joyce Daniels, and you find valuable videos on her YouTube channel for
Joyce?
public speaking. Joyce Daniels, Joyce Daniels.
Okay.
She's also got a
Got it.
book. She's also got a book on public speaking. She's got a book on public speaking. You should check that out. Check her out on Instagram and on YouTube. You'll most likely find a link to purchase the book via her LinkedIn handle. And yeah, you can get the book. I remember when I got the book, I finished reading it in one fell swoop at once because it was so good and very valuable. So I encourage you to do that. Yes.
Thank you very
And
much.
of course, you can definitely follow me on social media as well if you want to gain insights on public speaking and gain tips on public speaking. But yeah, Joyce Daniels comes first. But ultimately, really, I think that a fast way to learn is to find a model. Find a model. I mean, like I said, the gift of or skill of public speaking is cross-cutting across industries, sectors. So maybe it's in your industry, even outside of your industry. Who are the people who project themselves as confident, articulate masters of their crafts? Or if it comes to engineering, no, not engineering, energy and the financial sector, somebody like, oh my, did I just forget her name? I just did. Her name skipped my mind. Oh my God. I'll remember her name. Yeah. Rolake Akenkube Filani. Yes. Rolake, you should check her out on Instagram and LinkedIn. She is a corporate professional with the background in engineering and the financial sector. She goes on CNN to share her thoughts. She's on a rise with her business show, doing stuff. And I see expertise, I see confidence, I see charisma in this person. If I were to aspire to be any kind of person, that's the kind of professional I want to be. Somebody who is able to communicate her expertise to a diverse audience in an effective, articulate, and confident manner. So identify models. who speak well, who communicate their crafts well. So if it's politics, think about people that you like. You like how they share their thoughts. Somebody like Barack Obama. In Nigeria, somebody like Yemi Oshibajo speaks very well. Of course, his background as a lawyer, as a professor, gives him great advantage to be able to communicate well. Then you learn the skills, you learn the craft, you learn the basics of speaking. When they speak, listen to them. Listen to how they use their words. Listen to how they arrange their words. Listen to how they introduce themselves. Listen to how they start their speeches. Listen to how they transition from one point to another. Listen to how they conclude. That is how to learn. Speaking isn't just by talking. I remember being under a training by a public speaking coach, and she would say talking is different from speaking. Everybody talks, but not everybody speaks. Speaking is more structured. Get an opportunity to deliver a speech or a presentation to a large audience. You must structure your thoughts. It's not gisting. You're not gisting with your friends. No, you must pay attention to your use of words, your structure, and everything in between, from your introduction to the body to the conclusion. Structure, very important. So listen to those people. Don't just listen to how they sound. Listen to how they think. Listen to how they structure their thoughts. I think these are people that you should listen to. Rolake Akenkugbe Fulani, Yemi Oshibajo. Yes. Vusi Choir too. Very good. He's a motivational speaker, but he speaks quite intelligently. Listen to him. Listen to him. Listen to him. I think those are key people. Other people here would be people that I just generally admire as thought leaders. Kola Oyeneye and his wife, Topsy Oyeneye. Some of these people, they are captains of industries, so their expertise shines through when they speak. Kola Oyeneye leads an investment company, Volition Capital. His wife is ex-McKinsey. You see, as a management consultant, you must have excellent public speaking skills. So maybe these are people you should listen to. Go to their social media pages, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. Check out these people. Listen to how they speak. I remember sharing a link with some of my students over the weekend. There was an event on June 12th, the platform. It's an event focused on topics of national importance. And you have various people speaking at that event. Listen to speakers like that. Listen to events like that, conferences, seminars like that. Don't just listen to the nice ideas and the excitement of such events, but listen to how the speakers structure their thoughts, articulate their thoughts, and communicate their thoughts. That's how you learn. That's how you learn. And learning like that is called learning by osmosis, because you are trying to assimilate the ideas and thoughts, perspective of other people by observation, by intentional observation. As you see, you do, and you become. As you see, you do, and you become. As you see, you do, and you become. That's how you get better. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much for that. I mean, you've shared quite a lot of things with us today. And I hope everyone here is going to, at least you pick one or two things that would be useful to you to improve your knowledge and skills and your ability to speak effectively. One thing that I realized early is that you cannot go anywhere, you cannot go far if you don't improve your public speaking skills. No matter who you are, no matter the kind of knowledge that you think you have, you need to build that skill. And I agree with the fact that many people just talk and not really speaking. We just talk, oh, say this, say that. We also need to learn how to speak. And one of the things that I personally have been using is to listen to people and see the way they structure their thoughts, the way they make
Yes.
arguments, the way they
Yes.
introduce themselves, the way they carry themselves when they speak. I mean, the more you do that, the more you also tend to get better. You won't say because oh, I'm the I know this thing, I know how to do this, analyze this data, I know this thing about my research. But if you are unable to communicate effectively, people will have a kind of like something they heard about you that oh, this person, maybe you don't even have the knowledge, maybe you don't even have the skills. They have some level of assumption about who you are because the way you speak, the way you talk, people will actually judge you. But I mean,
Yes.
and as someone that really wants to learn and you know what is at stake, you need to continue to hone that skills. It's not just me that I'm actually speaking now. I don't like speaking before, but I know that I can't go anywhere if I don't hone that skill, if I don't build that capacity, if I don't practice. So, and I want to ask, can you give maybe daily tasks that people can start doing that you think is going to be helpful to them? Maybe something daily or, yeah, daily that they can do that will actually help them to own their public speaking skills.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Like I said, attaining public speaking mastery is a journey. Attaining public speaking mastery is a journey, and it requires gradual, consistent, intentional steps. First, identify where you are and identify where you want to go. If your challenge, because there are different facets of public speaking, if your challenge is confidence, that's different from somebody whose challenge is largely structure of their thoughts and ideas. So if your challenge is confidence, for instance, okay, and you know you need to do a lot of mindset re-engineering. You need to become more self-aware. You need to listen to motivational speakers. You need to do reflection, self-reflection through journaling. Maybe you even need a mindset coach. A mindset coach, people underrate coaches a lot. I recall 2 years ago, I paid to be coached by somebody. I paid to be coached. It wasn't small money, it wasn't cheap money. I made that investment in myself. So some of us need to do that. Maybe even just need to do a SWOT analysis of yourself to say, okay, I'm going to reach out to 4 different people to know what they think of me, what they perceive of me. I'll reach out to a friend, I'll reach out to a sibling, I'll reach out to a colleague, I'll reach out to a senior professional who knows me or a mentor, whoever, who can give you feedback. And from the feedback you receive from people, you can see what people perceive of you and you can identify the gaps. What can you do better? Reading books can be very valuable for self-renewal and self-knowledge, self-mastery. Books that are focused on understanding of oneself. You need to do that. And there are also valuable resources on YouTube. There is practically no subject matter that you want to know about that you can't find valuable resources on LinkedIn, on YouTube. So please use YouTube to your advantage. So if it's confidence, how to build confidence, how to like myself better, how to love myself better, how to know myself more. Type it right there. You see valuable videos. TEDx videos are valuable. Like I mentioned earlier, you can set a daily goal to watch a video a day. 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 You can set a goal to read an article a day. It has even become a part of my routine. I'm either reading a Harvard Business Review article or a Forbes article or some write-up by somebody on LinkedIn. I'm always reading something. So I'm expanding my knowledge base. I'm improving my vocabulary because I'm learning new words and new expressions. So reading is very valuable. You need to go back to the fundamentals of the English language. Speaking, listening, speaking, listening, comprehension. Hmm? So what do you read? What do you watch? What do you listen to? So even from the movies you watch, don't just listen for the excitement and the fun of it. What are some of the nice words and phrases that the actors use? Learn something from there. Learn something from there. When you go on LinkedIn, don't just go to like and comments. Read. People write a lot on LinkedIn. Some of us just skim through and just like, yo, read. Some of us feel like LinkedIn is a place for show off. No, I think LinkedIn is a great resource where you get to learn. It's a melting pot of knowledge from diverse sectors. You can learn from everybody there. Thought leaders, it's a level playing ground for you to easily learn from somebody who has more than 20, 30 years of experience, who has condensed their expertise in a one-pager. You can learn a lot from that. So read articles, subscribe. Just today I was reading an article by Yeah, from the Harvard Business Review. So, you know, there is a free version and the paid version. The free one, I think you get an opportunity to read 3 free articles a month. And I got reminded that I have only one article left for this month, one free article left for this month. I felt bad. I wondered to myself, have I already read 2 articles from the Harvard Business Review this month? I feel like I'm going to lose a lot because I wouldn't be able to access some articles I might find along the way later this month. But yeah, I take advantage of those freebies. Articles on Medium, people write a lot. Nigerians are good writers. There are many people who are good writers. I also read for fun. I'm not always serious. But you know, as I read for fun, I also pay attention to new things. For instance, I'm an avid reader of Zikoko. Everybody knows Zikoko if you're a Nigerian. I follow them on social media. I have subscribed to all of their newsletters. I receive their emails every week. Yes, I love love, so I read their love letters and their relationship articles. But of course, other articles as well that they have on lifestyle, really, generally anything. I find which one interests me and I pick. I may not read everything in that week's edition or in that day's edition, but I pick one that I find valuable. And the writers write well. They don't just put string words together. No, they are good writers. So I learn from their choice of words. I learn from their narratives. I learn from their descriptions. I learn from really how they articulate a story, a scenario. So for people who feel like they're not good storytellers, you need to read pages like Zikoko where they tell stories a lot, because it then gives you an idea of how to craft a story, how to communicate a story, because all they do is storytelling, story writing. So what you read is very important. What you watch, the movies you watch, learn from them. YouTube is a great resource. Set a goal to watch a TEDx video a day, or maybe 3 TEDx videos a week, whichever is convenient for you. Or join the Toastmasters. Yes. So, you know, in school, we used to have the Literary and Debating Society. In the professional circles, we have the Toastmasters. And Toastmasters is a global public speaking. It's a global public speaking activity and organization. So you can be a member of a public speaking of a Toastmasters society. I know in Nigeria we have different Toastmasters clubs in different states. I know we have a number in Lagos, we have in Abuja. You can go on LinkedIn, type toast like toast bread and masters, toast masters. Type nearest Toastmasters club in my location. Whether you are in Europe or in the United States of America, you can find that out and you can grow through that. I have a colleague, a friend. I remember that in secondary school, he wasn't so outspoken. But these days, I find that he's so confident and very articulate. And one thing that has helped him is choosing to speak up every time and also being a member of a Toastmasters club. In fact, I invited him to speak to my students in my coaching session because I wanted him to share his journey with people. So you see, you can actually become the speaker of your dreams if you take intentional, consistent steps. Speak up. Don't run away. Sometimes it's you sharing your thoughts or it's you asking a question. Questions can be very valuable. You may not have something to say or an answer to share every time. Maybe it's a question you even have. Fantastic. You know, questions are a valuable tool for networking. Oh, hello. How did you find today's session? Did you find it interesting? I found it very valuable. I liked what so and so person said. You're already driving a conversation. Good questions. We're in a conference. Yusuf, I remember clearly when we went to World Healthcare Student Symposium. Adiola really shined at the conference because she asked a question. I remember that day. She asked a question. It was a world conference of healthcare students and professionals in Rwanda. And she stood up in the midst of hundreds of people and asked a question. So sometimes we need to be bold enough to ask our questions. Don't second guess yourself. I'm going to ask a stupid question. Oh, they're going to write me off. No, be bold, ask a question, share your thoughts, share your perspective. And when they say, oh, what do you think, Yusuf? Don't say, oh, they've said what I was going to say. No, you would be doing yourself a great disservice if you say that. No, a better way to say it is, oh, I align with what Taiwo said. I do agree that so and so should happen. I do agree that we should explore so and so opportunity. Fantastic. I've said the same thing Taiwo said. I've repeated what Taiwo said in my own words, rather than saying she had said what I wanted to say. When you say that, you are losing an opportunity to shine. You're losing an opportunity to be more visible. If that person has already said what you wanted to say, then re-echo what that person said. Say it. And how you can say it intelligently, remember, use of words and structure. I align with what so and so person said. I resonate with what so and so person said. Or I do agree with what so and so person said. Or I would like to re-echo what so and so person said. You see, use of words, very important. It helps you to be able to, it makes you sound intelligent, even though you're saying exactly what someone else has already said. So please embrace opportunities to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taiwo. I mean, you've shared quite a lot of things with us today that we will go back and reflect on. But to close the sessions for today, I'm going to ask a question on accent. Do you think we should start speaking like British people or Americans before we can actually stand out like as a good public speaker?
Oh my God, do I speak like an American or a Briton? I don't think so. Everybody has an accent. That's the truth. So the Americans are Americans because they have an American accent. The Britons are Britons because they have a British accent. The Ghanaians are Ghanaians because they have a Ghanaian accent. The Canadians are Canadians because they have a Canadian accent. The Russians are Russians because they have a Russian accent. Do you see? The Nigerians are Nigerians because they have a Nigerian accent. The Yorubas are Yorubas because we have a Yoruba accent. Omo Yoruba niwa. Do you see? So if you hear a Nigerian anywhere in this world, you can tell Omo Nigerian because that person has a Nigerian accent. You can't take it away from that person. So what is that accent? An accent, yes, is an inflection, a style of speaking that is as a result of long-term residence in a place. You were born in Nigeria. You have familiarized yourself with the Nigerian society, Nigerian community, the Nigerian culture and language. So you will definitely have a Nigerian accent. You will definitely have a Nigerian accent. If you were born in London, born to Nigerian parents, but born in London, you can't have a Nigerian accent, even though you're a Nigerian. Why is that so? You're a Nigerian. Or maybe even you were born in Nigeria, but you were taken to London at age 3, and you've lived in London since age 3. You cannot have a Nigerian accent by the time you grow older, because you would have grown a language inflection as a result of long-term residence in that place. So an accent is built, an accent is imbibed as a result of long-term residence in the place and interaction with the people around there. So you can't blame yourself for being a Nigerian born in Nigeria. Because if you were a Nigerian born in Russia, you will not have an American accent. You will have a Russian accent. Nigerians who have lived in, say, South Africa for a long time would not really have the Nigerian accent after a long time. Some of them would have the South African accent, especially if that person lived in that place from a younger age. It's usually adults that don't easily switch. And that's also because of the learning capabilities of children. Their language competency is very flexible. So it's easier for children to learn new languages as opposed to adults. So adults are not very flexible when it comes to learning a new language as opposed to children. So if somebody migrates to a new country as an adult, so you'll find that the person's accent will not even be original to that new place. They will still be in between their original Nigerian accent and the accent of that new place. So sometimes if you pay attention to them, you will see that they can easily switch from Nigerian English to their American English or the American accent. So ultimately, there is no need to aspire to any accent because no accent is truly superior. What we all should aspire to is speaking English correctly, clearly, and articulately. And the dictionary is the Bible of English, so to speak. Because there are Americans who speak terrible English. There are Britons who speak terrible English, incorrect English, that do not follow the rules of grammar, probably wrongly pronounced, wrongly stressed, or just wrongly said in a particular way. So I think that we should hold ourselves to the scrutiny of the dictionary rather than pander to the pressure of having a foreign accent. Because having a foreign accent doesn't exactly make you smarter or more intelligent. So you need to pay more attention to ensuring that you are speaking correctly. Your grammar is correct. You're pronouncing correctly. You're using your words correctly. So that's what we should aspire to. I recall watching a video of a foreigner. I can't remember the guy's country. And the guy has lived in Nigeria for such a long time. He has the white, it looks white. He's not black. It looks white. And whenever he gets an opportunity to travel, say to Europe, Europeans would speak to him and would wonder why he doesn't speak like them. But the guy has lived in Nigeria all his life. He speaks like a Nigerian. He speaks our pidgin English. He speaks our pidgin English. So it's not merely by color of skin, really. It's an accent is imbibed largely by long-term residents in a place. Long-term residents in a place. So it's okay. But of course, as you stay longer in a new place and you engage with people there, you'll find that your accent may then, I wouldn't say improve, but your accent may change because of the people you're interacting with, because of the new environment. But ultimately, no accent is superior. Should rather focus on speaking rightly, speaking correctly, speaking confidently, and articulately. And yeah, if you want your children to have the British accent or Canadian accent, then give birth to them then. Or sponsor them to live there for a long period of time, whatever. But no accent is superior. No accent is superior. I love the Ghanaian accents, by the way. I love listening to Ghanaians. And yeah, I can't speak like a Ghanaian because I am not a Ghanaian and I have not lived in Ghana for a long time. I can't have the British accent. By the way, I should say that an accent can be learned. Yes, an accent can be learned. So you can, for instance, there are people who can learn the Indian language, right? They can speak like Indians. Some people have the gift of switching between accents. So they can say something like a Nigerian can say it, and say it like a Canadian can say it, or say it like an American can say it. People can learn accents. And that means an accent can be faked too. Some people can sound like somebody they are not. They can sound like somebody they are not. So you have to own your own space, own your own public speaking journey, and do your best and leave the rest. You don't need to have a foreign accent to be considered intelligent or brilliant. Intelligence, brilliance defies accents. It defies languages. It defies tribes. It defies races. That's why Nigerians can thrive anywhere in the world, because brilliance, it's not by the color of the skin and it's not by accent. So that means that you must pay attention to sharpening your skills and your capabilities so that you shine everywhere you find yourself. And whether you speak with a Nigerian accent or not, whether you speak with the Yoruba accent or the Igbo accent, you will be respected and highly regarded for the cerebral contributions that you offer in your space, the intelligent ideas and the perspectives that you contribute in circles that you belong. And people will want to associate with you because they know that you're a value adding professional. And they know that they can always learn from you. And they know that you always bring solutions and interesting ideas to the table. That's what matters on the long run.
Thank you very much, Taiwo. I mean, you have to take ownership of your accent. And at the same time, that doesn't mean that you should not speak clearly or you should not strive to, because I mean, you can have that accent, but
yes,
being clear, that clarity should also be there.
absolutely.
Thank you very much, Taiwo.
Yes.
And everyone here, please try to sign up for the next cohort of the Speak with Confidence coaching program. I'm sure you will not regret it. If you need more practical lessons and you want to really engage with her, um, I've already sent the link to the chat. So kindly click on it and register. And we are still going to share it with other people. So thank you very much, Taiwo, for sharing your knowledge, for sharing those insights and knowledge with us today. And I hope that everyone here is going to maximize this opportunity to do self-reflection and go back to their drawing board to see how they can actually get better on how they do their things and how they present and how they talk. I mean, it's something that you need to continue to do. You need to continue to invest in it. So you cannot just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I want to become an expert in public speaking." You need to learn the process. You need to master what you need to do. And she has shared quite a lot of things with us today. You can this video is going to be uploaded. Go back to it, rewatch it as many times as you want, just to pick those lessons, those valuable things that you can continue to do to build your knowledge and skills. Confidence, your knowledge, ability, accent is not a problem, but speak with clarity. Learn how to pronounce things correctly, like learn, use the dictionary. They have shared quite a lot of things with us today, and please try as much as possible to maximize them and use it in your own journey. Because I can tell you that I've not seen anyone that actually shine. I mean, top people that can speak really well. And even if they struggle with it at the early days of their career, most of them do struggle with it. They tend to improve with time because they also practice. So don't shy away from the opportunity when, oh, come and speak. Oh, can't speak. You start hiding behind the needle. Don't do that. Look for opportunities to ask questions, to talk. And I mean, one thing that Taiwo just said now that I would definitely recommend to you is that when you attend any event, any program, please try to ask question. Stand up, ask question, and that question you might practice in your mind like 20 times. Think about it. How am I going to say it? How am I going to structure it? Then talk. Because if you don't practice, you can't get better. Taiwo has re-emphasized that over time. He has emphasized that you, if you don't practice, you can't get better. Read books. When you read books, pay attention to the way people write. For me, I actually realized that thing early too, because when I read, I also try to look at how this person actually how they structure their thoughts. Because that's how you learn how to write. Because when you see the way people write and you must not just read it for fun, like, oh, let me just read this thing within 5 minutes and I'm done. Sometimes you might want to do that, but most times just try to also reflect on or the way people write. And you can even translate that to the way people actually communicate, the way people speak. Watch their video. Look where you go to program, not just listen to the falling part and see the way they articulate, the way they talk. And for me, like I said earlier, what has always worked for me basically is when I want to speak, I just assume I'm the expert in this room. And I had one presentation recently. People are wondering, how is this guy speaking with so much confidence? Because I try to master what I want to talk about. And when I get to the stage, and you said something that I actually agreed with, like, when you get on, like when you want to start your presentation, but I feel those rushes or being scared or having some anxiety. But I just think you just need to own it up and just do what you are expected to do, and don't worry too much. Because I think what most people do is that they worry too much. Oh, I'm going to flop, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Just prepare as much as you can. Master what you want to talk about. If you have that knowledge on what you want to talk about, you are going to do well. Taiwo has shared quite a lot of things with us today, and we appreciate our time and our expertise to share invaluable knowledge with us today. So please, you are free to rewatch the video, and you're also free to sign up for our class. I've seen a lot of reviews from people that have joined our personal class. At the next cohort, you can sign up for it. I've already shared the link. So please click on it and sign up. Thank you very much, Taiwo, for sharing your knowledge and skills and sharing your knowledge with us today. And I'm sure everyone here, they're also very, very grateful for you sharing your insights. And I'm going to upload this video. People are going to watch it from time to time to also improve their knowledge and skills. Thank you very much, Taiwo. And do you have any last words for us?
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for the invitation. Such a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad to know that it was valuable for us. Ultimately, yes, please keep practicing and keep practicing and keep practicing. Open up yourself, volunteer, don't shy away from speaking engagement. And sometimes, too, it's okay to use aids. It's okay to write bullet points that can guide you when you want to say something.
Hmm.
At first, you may not have everything clearly structured in your head, but you know that if you have the bullet points, you will be able to clearly say whatever you've got in mind. Fantastic. Please feel free to use bullet points to guide you in whatever you have to say. If you have a question, feel free to write it down. I like to tell my students that when you write your speech, it helps you to be able to articulate your thoughts better, and it guides you when you're going to say your speech, when you're going to deliver your speech. So maybe you've got a presentation, and a good step for you is to actually write down what exactly you want to say, how you want to say it, how you want to be heard. Fantastic. Then you practice, you rehearse, you internalize, not cram. You internalize what you're going to say. Don't cram, because if you cram and you forget what you are supposed to say, you could go blank. But when you internalize what you've got to say, meaning that you know your speech, you know your lines, even if you don't remember it as you have written it down, you know the idea. So you can move to the next point. It wouldn't destabilize you if you forget a word or a phrase. Ultimately, practice, practice, practice. It's okay to write down your thoughts, but more importantly, show up confidently, prepare, prepare, prepare. You have a speaking engagement, prepare so that you do not flop. Prepare. It's an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to shine, it's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity that opens for you even more opportunities. So take every opportunity as if it's the best opportunity that you've got at that point in time. And the world will indeed be your oyster. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for Taiwo. We are so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. We're going to close the session now. So thank you very much. Bye.
You bye for now.